This is a very difficult period for everyone. We are living like a spiritual revolution on planet Earth. It's really it never seen before. We're indoctrinated not to trust our intuition, not to trust our heart. And now we are unlearning this. We are trying to go back to the innocence and heart openness that we experienced as children at some point.
Joanna, welcome to the Ascended Lightworkers podcast. It's really great to have you here. How are you today?
I'm great, Elena, and thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited about the conversation that we're going to have. So, Joanna, you are an Akashic Records Clearer and an Ascension coach. And during this conversation, we have the possibility to explore these topics, which is super exciting. And I would like to start by asking you to briefly talk about the journey, these key turn points that propel you during your spiritual path, and even make you take the decision to pursue like a profession in spirituality and become an Akashic Records Clearer. How does this moment look like, and how life changes after this?
Okay, so in my case, the journey was like lifelong, was really, really long. I think like my first wake-up call was when I was 3 years old. And it was when I discovered that people are eating animals, when I asked my parents, what's this meat on my plate? And when they told me, I got like crazy, like I was so shocked, and I really felt I'm not from this planet, like this is no, it cannot be true, like big, like rage and horror and like really strong urge to do something about it because I wasn't okay with it. And it was like also this feeling of being not really forming a part of my family because I'm a starseed. So the feeling of being like an outsider is it's accompanying me all my life. And then other things happened, like in my childhood, for example, when I was like 7, 8, I learned lucid dreaming without any books or any prompts. Like, I don't know if I didn't hear the name for it until I was in my 30s, but I learned how to do it, and I was controlling my dreams and talking to people and saying, yeah, it's just a dream, we're gonna wake up. I was doing all these things like naturally when I was little. And then I was raised Catholic, so it didn't help. It didn't help this, opening my mind, because I was really strongly directed in one path. This one is right. So when I was a teenager, I started like to discover, but more intellectually. I think lots of my natural abilities and intuitions were already blocked because the upbringing of children is not promoting it at all. Like, if somebody hears voices, they are crazy, you have to take them to the shrink and not ask them, what is the voice saying? Is it a nice voice or is it a nasty voice? Like, we don't do it with kids, right? So it was like suppressed mostly, but I started intellectually. I was like reading everything I could, and these were books because I was born in 1970, so there was no internet yet. And I was reading all the books on reincarnation, I read Bhagavad Gita, things like this, like some books about Zen, whatever I could get my hands on, which wasn't like very accessible at the time. I read it all. And I started meditating when I was a teenager, like on and off. I met a Buddhist monk from Tibet who was visiting Poland. I lived in Warsaw at the time, and he was there, so I got like an initiation. I didn't really know what it was all about, but you know, it was attracting me, and I was always like there, you know, wanting to know. And then when I was in my 20s, early 20s, I got seriously into meditation. I was in Buddhist Zen Sangha for like 10 years, and lots of meditations, like, you know, retreats every month, and in summer like for a month or longer, like really 10 years of meditation at home as well. I also did like pendulum drawing course. I was doing stuff, but still I was living a very 3D life. I was pursuing various careers. I had children, and you know, things were happening on a very practical 3D level as well. And this was like, I wouldn't say hobby, but it was something additional. I wasn't like into it 100%. It was important. I always knew that spirituality is important. Even when I was no longer in Sangha, I moved to another country. I still meditated, but it was kind of, you know, side gig, I would say. Okay. And then what happened? I'm not really sure, like probably it was something energy-wise, because there was this big cosmic moment in 2012, and not everybody knows about it, but it was the moment when Source has directly sent its love like to everyone in the galaxy, and everyone here on Earth was affected. We may not know, like for example, if you ask me what I did on this particular day time, I have no idea, because I'm not journaling, so I don't know. But retrospectively, I believe this could be the impulse, you know, the impulse to go really deeper into it wholeheartedly. And yeah, and then I perceived, I still did all the things, like, you know, two ways, like 3D and meditation and reading, and you know, trying to connect with like-minded people, etc. And then in COVID, I had a lot of time, like most of us. People really, COVID helped a lot of people to get like into more connected with themselves. Also have like try to figure out the deeper meaning of life, because with plenty of time, you know, you can do it, right?
No distractions.
You can reflect. Yes. No distractions, all these social, you know, things like far away, you are in your bubble, and then you can really sit with it, right? Feel it. So in COVID, I decided I'm gonna move out of the city, because I have been living like in the city, in Warsaw, then in Barcelona, and I said, no, that's it. I cannot do it any longer. And I'm a city creature, so it was like a big decision for me. And now I live in a small seaside town. It's really small, like for me, and it's beautiful. And it really changed so much for me, because when I moved here, like I didn't know anyone. I started, you know, meeting people, like-minded people. I met a lot of like shamanic people here. So I did like tons of things like Reiki initiations, family constellations. I also did like some online courses like NLP, whatnot. Plenty of things. And at some point, it just And I was coaching already because I started coaching before, but my coaching was vegan coaching, you know, for vegan families, how to eat healthy, being vegan, how to raise your children vegan, because I'm a mom of 3 vegan children and they are big, you know, 31, and 2 of them, twins, are 17. So, you know, I was just sharing this, and so I was already working with clients like one-on-one, but it wasn't spiritual. And then when I moved and I started to do so much work on myself, so much healing on myself, my family, etc., it just became more and more clear that I want to do spiritual coaching. Because I just think like there are plenty of great coaches, and there are like great vegan nutritionists, etc., but still there are not enough like spiritual people, spiritual coaches. And I thought, okay, this is the way to go. And while preparing for this, I heard, I don't remember how it was, I heard the name Akasha, and I was like, wow. Like, you know, sometimes it's just like you get these goosebumps, you know, you're like,
it's like it called you.
yeah, exactly. And I had no idea what, how, like where to start. I got my first Akashic clearing from the guy who didn't even call it Akashic clearing. I realized years later that it was the Akashic clearing. Very crazy story, because it was like online. The guy didn't even talk to his client, just message, you know, very, like, I felt the effects, the results, but I never got a chance to talk about, like, what was he actually doing. But then I realized, and then I met, like, girl who lives like 2 blocks from me in this small town, and she's working with Akash, and I met her teacher, and it was beautiful. And yeah, and so I learned a lot, but informally, you know, just like getting sessions from them and talking to them. And then I met my teacher, my Akashic Records Clearing teacher, online, and I did courses with him. And yeah, and now I'm not only clearing the Akashic records of others, I can also teach them. So it's like beautiful, because I can spread it, and I think everybody needs it. Like, at least once in your life, I think you should really clear your Akashic records. If you take your, you know, your spiritual growth like seriously, you really want to accelerate, I think this is like a jump shift, you know.
Yeah, so this is very interesting, and it brings me to the next question, which is for people who might not know, or maybe they're new to spirituality. So what are the Akashic records, and yeah, why someone would want to clear them?
Okay, so what are the Akashic records? Akashic records are like a library or a database where everything is recorded, and they are, of course, like ethereal. They are not physical, right? This is energy, like energy field. There are many names for them. People, like, because there are theories that this concept appears in different traditions. Like, for example, people say that there is mentioning in the Bible of a book of life, and this is the Akashic records. Like, you know, probably it was like they were always there, obviously, and probably some people knew, and probably they called them different names, different words, because words are never giving justice to the energy reality, of course. But anyway, so this is like, you can think about them like a place, not physical, like a space maybe, where everything is recorded, every deed, every thought, every emotion. So there are different Akashic records. There are galactic ones, earth ones, places have their Akashic records, animals have their Akashic records. You can do like Akashic clearing for a company, for example. Like everything has this information field, right? Their Akashic records. What I'm working with mostly, although I'm doing the animal ones sometimes, but mostly for the soul. So when somebody comes to me, we are clearing their soul record. It means all the incarnations. From the first incarnation, which I like to call the root cause, you know, through all the incarnation the person lived, we clear it all. And people often ask me, like, how can you clear it? Like, it's already happened, right? Like, if something happened, if we believe in linear time, okay, this is the past, it's not changeable. So clearing can be also called healing, if you wish, because we're not clearing what happened. We are clearing the negative charge. You know, it's like, because I think this is the most difficult concept when I try to explain people and tell them what I do, and the most questions raise at this point. So I think a good example is, let's imagine that you have PTSD, right? There was a traumatic event in your past, and this trauma is causing you to not to be able to function well. Like, for example, you cannot get out of your house, or you cannot talk to people, or whatever. You have this, you know, this defense mechanisms that are like preventing you from living your life fully. So then you go to a specialist, to a therapist, and they are using some kind of therapy, maybe cognitive behavioral or whatever else, you know, they find will help you. So what happens? Once you are like cured, it doesn't mean the trauma is like the traumatic event is not there, right? It is still there in your life. You know it happened, but it's not causing the reaction. So, for example, if something bad happened to you when you were driving a car, now you remember, okay, I had this car accident or whatever, but now I can drive the car again. I still remember, but it's not affecting me. So this is what we, not this, but something similar is what we do when we clear our Akashic records. All the events are there, but they don't have the negative charge. There is no trauma. The only difference is that it's not about one event. It's about all events from this life and all the past lifetimes. So it's like thousands of incarnations, because here on earth we are all old souls. Like almost everyone is a very old soul, because this is a very special planet and a difficult one.
You say that people have trouble like understanding how we clear the Akashic records because like time is linear, or we perceive it as linear. But we know that actually this is not the actual nature of time, right? Time is not linear, and there is no past or future. It all happens in the present moment. So can you help us understand a little bit this point more, like how all of our lives, like past lives, parallel lives, future lives that we might be able to see in the Akashic records happen at the exact same time?
I think whatever we say now at this point, like I really am all pro communication and I want to communicate with you and everybody who listens. But I think whatever we say now is only an approximation. Because I don't think, like at least me, at this moment, I know it's not linear, and but I think it's not precisely happening at the same moment. It's also kind of approximation. I think it's just so complex that at least my mind is still not, I cannot wrap my mind fully around this. What I can say, it has something to do with time not being linear, and or maybe time just flowing in one direction. That's for sure. And this is true not only for Akashic Records, it's true for any spiritual work, any energy work that we do now on Earth. So when we heal ourselves, we work on ourselves these days, we are healing our ancestors. Their souls are getting it. So we are not only accelerating our journey and our ascension, we are helping all our lineage to do it as well. So that's my, 2 pence about how time can work differently that we are used to think.
That's a very interesting concept. Like, I've heard that when we heal ourselves, basically we heal 7 generations before and 7 generations afterwards. So, like, whatever work we do for ourselves, it has like waves that go way beyond us.
And I wouldn't even limit it to 7 generations. Maybe it's more, but this is true, And also, like, when you look at okay, I used to do like regressions for some times. Like, I would talk to my little Joanna from the past, right, to heal my inner child, etc. You can do the same with your future self. And yeah, now I remember, I used to talk to her too. So you can do it. Like, for example, when you want to you believe you are like on your way and you're going to be just more and more successful, more and more wise, etc. And this is for sure true. Like, yeah, this is what we live for, right? To grow. So you can ask her, like, your future you, and say like, I want to be you, like, help me, show me the way. How do I go about becoming you? So yeah, it's like, so it can flow in any direction.
So I have a question, like when you clear someone's Akashic records, so you have access to this library of information, you can see like their lifetimes. So how is the experience for you? Like, can you see the lifetimes, what this person went through, and then how do you know what you have to clear that is like the most relevant for the person at that point, and it's gonna have the biggest impact on their life?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, I even like, these are like 2 questions in fact. So okay, I have an access but first of all, I always ask people, because I never do, like, people sometimes are posting like their pictures online and they are like, what can you tell me, like in Facebook group or something, and I'm always like, I don't think it's a good thing to do, because like I wouldn't like want everybody to look into my energy, and I'm not doing it, to others. I always, when I work with somebody, obviously they give me their, the access. They tell me, yes, you can, right? It's not like I'm going on the street and checking people's Akashic records. I don't think it would be like, I don't know, it wouldn't be a nice thing to do.
Yeah, it's more like when you work with a client, right? So someone comes to you and says, okay, I want you to clear my Akashic records.
Yes, then I, of course, I can access, I can see things. So because everybody has different channels, right? My main channel is my body, like body feelings. So I can feel the energy flowing. It's like there are like vibrations in the body, temperature. Sometimes it's like on the verge of pain, even in my body. I can feel it somewhere. So, uh, yeah. And also, I see things. I see things like, yeah, like I can see short movies, maybe short clips from these lifetimes. What I do, I tend not to see them. And let me tell you why I tend not to see them and why I don't need to see them. Because, okay, first of all, there are like thousands upon thousands of incarnations. So if I would like to focus, because okay, yeah, in the corner of my eye, oh, that was really interesting. Oh, what did you do there? Wow, you were this. Wow. If I would start doing this, I could see what, 3, 4, maybe 7 lifetimes in a session. A session, like I usually time a session for 90 minutes. And there are thousands of incarnations. So there is no way of seeing lots of them. Like the percentage will be super small. And I really don't want to focus on something like this. So what I do, I usually just try to just like, I'm there, the information is like, it's like blinking in front of my eyes, but I'm just doing my job. I'm just focusing on clearing. I'm not focusing on reading or seeing what happened to them. And how do I know what to clear? This is super simple. This is so simple, you're gonna laugh. I'm just clearing everything that needs to be cleared for them. And it's not my decision, it's not theirs. It's the higher self who decides, okay? Because in the end, I'm just a mouthpiece here. And the client, another one. We're having chat, blah, blah, blah. But the higher selves are doing it. Our higher selves are connected. They are working with our Akashic masters, mine to guide me, and his or hers to show mine where it is and what is it that needs to be cleared. So really, it's not our decision. And I have a script. For the first time, the script is like for everyone, like very similar. I talk to the client because if they want to add something or something is super important for them, I take notes at the beginning of the session and I try to incorporate, and usually I can. Like sometimes it's just like a no, like it doesn't let me, so I'm like, okay, maybe next time, or maybe maybe not. But the script is super complete. This is also a part when I teach, I share this script with people because this is a script that has been prepared by my teacher, then I modified it. It's like a very long script with the things that like everybody needs to clear, like there are these things from past lives that we've done over and over and over again, and they are the most important, the karmically heaviest, let's say, and they need to be cleared. I add some things that the client wants, and that's it. And of course, during the sessions, I channel some things, because if the Akashic Records tell me, okay, and this and that, and how about that, I will also clear this. And I'm always saying it out loud so the client knows, because this clearing is not only Akashic Records, it also clears your subconscious. So it's good. The fact that I'm saying it out loud is, like NLP, like programming. So it also gives your subconscious like a boost, okay, let's clear this, this is gone, okay, you don't have to worry about this. So that's how it's done. And there are some parts in the clearing where the client can decide fully, because during the Akashic Records clearing session, I clear the Akashic Records, and I also ask the client if they want, and they always want, to clear some soul contracts. And we do like general soul contract clearing, like from all their past lifetimes, but I ask them if they want to pick specific persons, and then we do it like, you know, this one, that one. And people always want it, and sometimes they want to give me a very long list. I'm trying to keep it short, because it's just like, if we have 90 minutes, we would go on for, you know, 3 hours or 4 hours. So, okay, but yeah, people usually choose like their parents, their partners. These can be people who aren't here with us, can be like a soul that was here and passed, you know, to the other plan. But usually they choose like living relatives or partners. When I do it, for example, I do it for my kids all the time, because I'm a mother of 3 and 2 are still living with me. So, and they are teenagers, so I have a lot of clearing to do. And it's like soul contract clearing. It doesn't mean like cutting cords, like, you know, no separating. No, not at all. This is just clearing all this past incarnations we had with these people, also the things that happen in this life, again, clearing the negative charge, the trauma, negative energy, and just like opening a new chapter, providing a new slate. And then you can write the rest of the history that you have together with this person, like without, you know, any triggers. Because it's like, dismantling the triggers. So this is important.
Yeah, I think it can be very powerful, because it's like rebuilding like a new relationship with someone.
Exactly.
Like meeting at a new point and then writing a new history without carrying all the old things from the past.
Exactly. That's why I started recently to just offer this soul contract clearing as a separate session, because not everybody wants to go, you know, into Akashic Records and do all this work. Some people are just so concerned about 1 or 2 relationships in their life. They feel like it's blocking them or it's dragging them down or whatever happens. So then I just do a shorter session, and it's just for the soul contract clearing. And it's really like people, because I often ask my clients, like the next day or a few days later, how are you? How are things? And they are like, oh my God, I can look at her now and it does nothing, like with new eyes, like, did I change? Did she change? What has happened? And I'm like, everything changed because the energy changed. So that's what lets you like, really live the, you know, and sometimes it can be that your ways will, you know, we go separate ways or you stay together. It has nothing to do. It's just clearing all this negativity and placing you both on the best timeline available. And when I say best, or like best timeline or highest good, and I say it very often, especially during session, it always means for the soul, not for the ego. So here, you know, we always need to think this is the work that is guided by the big bosses. So we have our, you know, plans for, you know, and our wanting, I want this, I want that, our whims, our, you know, all this. But in the end, it's a trust in your higher self that it really guides you for the best of your soul.
I understand this is like very powerful work, right? And it works in a very deep energetic level. So, like after someone clears their Akashic records, like what kind of effects can they have in their actual life? Like what things might change, or like what kind of challenges they might have before, and then they come do like an Akashic records clearing, and then something else shows up for them. Can you give us like some examples, or like from your clients' stories? Yeah.
Yeah. So there are people who, like, basic things, because I really think we all want the same. Like most people, there is like limited, things that we want, and I even have like a special script for this. Like there is a general, and there is like relationship, money, and health. These are like the three areas that most people want to work on, right? So yeah, I did clearing for a person who couldn't find a job for a long time, and yeah, was like on on all these benefits and looking and having interviews, and he got it, right? So, and a nice job. So yeah, better that he even, yeah, he said it was better that he hoped for, because this person was like in a kind, of he was feeling down because of having so many like failed interviews and being rejected, and his expectations were getting lower and lower, and the job he landed was like wow for him. So relationship, the same. Like some people who are like want a relationship, they would say, yeah, like I started dating with this great person. So yeah, it happens. Physical health, it can also affect physical health and mental health, which is really important because it's all connected. So yeah, people say like they have better mobility, for example, people who couldn't move freely, or it was like painful, they say better mobility. And there are some practical things like funny stories. I can tell you a funny story like from my life, because this I can share, which is super funny. As I'm clearing my Akashic records all the time. It's my job, so like it's a part of the job, right? So I'm doing it like almost daily. And I cleared a soul contract with my first boyfriend. So I was 15. I'm 54, okay? And I haven't seen him like in 30 years or something, right? And I live in a different country. And he found me on Facebook and he wrote to me like the next day. And I was like, what? So funny, like really, because it affects the other party.
He felt the energy.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
He contacted you the next day.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'm fine, thank you so much. But still, my hair was like, what? Really crazy. And yeah, also one of my clients, he was clearing a relationship with his best friend, and I don't know her, but he said she is a very spiritual person. And he told me that the next day they talked, and she said, oh, I feel so tired today. What has happened? Because it can be a side effect. You can feel tired because this is a big, big energy shift and a big energy work. This is not for fainted heart. Okay, this is for people who are really want to do, like I call it, hardcore spirituality. It's really powerful. So you can feel like tired the next day, yeah, you need a lot of sleep, you need a lot of water after the session, but I think it's all worth it, because if you think you're been clearing thousands of incarnation, like being tired for a day or two, I think it's a price that we can pay, right? Because it's such a big shift. And yeah, when we clear these soul contracts, of course, like when somebody comes to me, they're my client, okay? So I say, you are my client, I'm working for you, this is your session. But when I clear the soul contract between you and this other person, like the third party, it's also for their soul's highest good. Like, you can never do wrong. You can never harm anyone. It doesn't work like this. So when I work on a soul contract, it's for the highest good of my client, and this other person, he or she, is clearing the contract with. Just to be clear, okay?
Yeah, and I think there is no wonder it's called the light work, because everybody's like working so hard on their energy and their spirituality. So now I would like to take it to a different topic. I would like to talk about ascension in general.
Yes.
And people talk about ascending to higher states of consciousness, or like going from 3D to 5D, etc. So what does it mean to you, and like how like practically life looks like for someone who lives like from this kind of higher states?
You know what? I think the biggest difference is like opening the heart. And it's like opening the heart chakra energetically, but in practical terms, it's like this, like living more from the space of your heart than from the brain, because we are used to, to live like in our, mental world, and like analyze everything, and yeah, like over analyze, right? We are all like in our heads, in this as a society, and the education and everything is promoting it. So living more from the heart. So what it means, like lots of love. That's really like the basic thing. So I think I just talked to a friend yesterday about it. We were talking about parents, children, all these dynamics in our lives and in general. And I believe most of us were like born to 3D, and we never experienced unconditional love. Like our parents simply couldn't give it to us. It's like they would love to, but they are just not, they just can't. And I'm saying it also about myself. Like, I would love to be this ideal mother for my children, but when they were small, I wasn't. Like, really, I did my best, but it wasn't like unconditional love. No. So now we are all learning it, and I think it's super important. And of course, the basis of all love is self-love. And it's probably the most difficult. And also, we are like living, we are trying to love others, like treat them like brothers and sisters, like really. And at the same time, healing ourselves, healing our wounds, and learning to love ourselves. We are, juggling a lot of tasks at the same time. Okay, I can give you a funny example. I don't know it. So I went to a party recently, and people were there like hugging and saying, I love you. And these people, like I think maybe all of them or most of them were on drugs. That's why they did it. I did it without being on drugs. I did it because I live from the heart space, and I really felt it, and I was happy hugging them and saying I love you. Okay, so this is, you know, the new dynamic, like, you know, maybe like all this like brotherhood of men, you know, like feeling love and acceptance. Like you don't have to be okay with what everyone is doing all the time, but general feeling of love and connection with others, and trying not to judge ourselves and not to judge others. It always have to work both ways. So yeah, this is the thing. I think this is like what living in 5D means for me. And of course there are further repercussions, because then if you see some things as no longer aligned with your heart, you see something as unethical, or maybe not resonating with you any longer, you change it, right? People are switching, you know, jobs. People are moving to live in a different place. People are like, it's like living from this heart space really kind of dictates, you know, what you do. So for example, I always say, like, if you were a party animal, you were partying every occasion you could. Now maybe you go to have a walk in nature or meditate. Like, I'm not saying never party, because I party sometimes and I love dancing, right? But it's like your priorities shifts, and you know when to go out, you know when to stay in, you know when you need to recharge your batteries. You listen to your heart, you take good care of yourself, and in turn you take good care of others, of your environment, etc.
Yeah, really beautiful. So, like, I keep three things. The one is, okay, living from the heart and having like this feeling of love. Then the other, which I think is very important, the no judgment part. Because I think when we judge other people, basically we judge parts of ourselves that we do not accept yet.
Exactly.
So
And also it's against love, right? If you want to love yourself, love others, you cannot judge them at the same time, right?
yeah, exactly. And then that it's okay in every period to just listen to our heart and our body and decide, okay, what feels aligned with myself right now, right? And it's okay to change. Like, we go through different periods and different phases. So in every phase, like, different things might feel aligned. And if we follow this, then we live like from this state.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? I wanted to say, like, this is difficult. This is a very difficult period for everyone. And we are living like a spiritual revolution on planet Earth. We are doing what in other star systems took hundreds of years. We are doing it like in 30 years, more or less. It's really, it's never seen before. So always give yourself, give yourself a break. Always be nice to yourself. Don't push yourself too hard, It's like I have this image, for me, this 3D, 5D, because of course I'm like 5D, and I know I live from there, but sometimes there are people, situations, places, circumstances that are, of course, getting me straight back to 3D, like you are all loving, and, rainbow unicorns are walking with you on the street and everything is beautiful, and then something happens and it's like, oh my God, why, what? And it's so, I see it like we are still balancing, you know, like we have one leg on this 3D, one leg on the 5D level, and we are like dancing. So make it like a beautiful dance and not like, you know, a struggle not to fall. Just try to do it with grace and give yourself grace. That's my advice to everyone. And very, very important thing, like when people ask me for advice and it's just like a general short conversation, I always say, ask your spiritual support team for help, you know? And people are like, who is it? Who are they? I mean, angels, spiritual guides, the beings of love and light. You may not see them, or maybe you see them in your dreams. Sometimes they show us a grandma that died, you know, or maybe an old wise man, you know, like a wizard, whatever. It's your word and it's your spiritual support team. They can be unicorns, they can be whatever you want them to be. Even if you don't see them, even if you don't hear them or don't feel their presence, ask them for help. And I strongly believe that no prayer is unanswered. So really, really ask for help. Like you can say like something like, you know, my angels or beings of love and light, like you need to address them. You need to say whom are you are asking for help, and just ask them for maybe guidance, maybe a sign, and these signs will appear. It doesn't have to be, you know, a 6 feet tall shining angel standing in your living room and talking to you. This is very rare. Usually it's just, you know, a sentence you will see when you open a book, or maybe somebody will tell you this, you know, a person you bump into in the supermarket will tell you something, and you will know, this is the sign I ask for, this is my guidance, you know. Can be you know, like people say, white feathers are the signs that angels are with us. Can be anything really. What's important, it's what it means to you, because you are unique.
And I think it's important to open the channel for this communication, right? Because if
Yes.
we start asking and we're open to connect, then we're gonna be seeing the signs more and more in our lives.
Exactly. And if you have like you are like in self-doubt, and maybe you are like always, you know, questioning it, you can also ask for this. Please help me open my heart. Please help me be more open. Please help me trust. Like, you know, we can always ask for help. And it's like what I said at the beginning, that we are all our childhood, we're indoctrinated not to trust our intuition, not to trust our heart, not to go with this, you know, fairy magic. And now we are unlearning this. We are trying to go back to the innocence and heart openness that we experienced as children at some point. So we can also ask for help in this department.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I want to ask you, what is your mission?
Okay, my mission at present, because it can always change. My mission at present, I see it as clearing the Akashic records of as many people I can get my hands on. Like, because I really, like, there are clients I work with, you know, for a longer period, but to be honest, I really think like this first clearing is so crucial and so important and can help the ascension so much, because if you think you can clear all these thousands upon thousands of incarnations, it's really, you don't carry this heavy luggage. So your ascension is, you are like floating in the air because you're not so heavy. So it's really so beautiful and so efficient. So this is what I believe is like, I'm not saying there are no other great modalities. There are, and they are beautiful. This is what I'm good at and what I see as super efficient. So this is my life mission, clear the Akashic Records.
Nice, nice. All right. I would like to really thank you for having this conversation here and sharing your wisdom and your light and your love with us. And thank you for being part of the Ascended Lightworkers platform. So if you want to work with Joanna and get this boost in your own ascension journey, you can go on the platform on the link that I'm gonna put below, and get an Akashic Records clearing or ascension coaching, or even the soul contracts clearing, or even training about how to clear your own Akashic Records or the Akashic Records of your friends and family. And if you like conversations like that about spiritual topics, but subscribe on this channel so you don't miss the next conversations with light workers from all over the world. Until the next time, my friends, keep spreading your light.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.